It's like It's like playing one of the soccer games. One of the sports games back then.
Yeah.
There was no real ending.
No, but there's no you fight through X amount of teams. There's no ending. It just restarts all over again. It's weird. But anyway, with that being said, we are live with another episode of BS Busters. I'm joined by Jewel. Well, I'll let her introduce herself. Go ahead.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, to the BS Busters and the Elite Podcast for September 4th. I'm Joe Ila Moonstar, and oh boy, I'm gonna have some headaches this week.
All right.
And this is
Go ahead, sir.
This is Kenoshi Abominito here to say console gaming's for the birds.
Really?
Don't tell me you're treating us console gamers like peasants.
Yeah.
I'm not. I wouldn't go that far, but some of the stuff that Sony was pulling.
Oh, you mean that lackluster Sony presentation?
Well, it's not even that. Just what they're doing with their upgrade path.
Oh, you mean where they said, "Oh, this will be a free upgrade, and now we're going to charge you $30 or $20 for it."
God, boo.
Well, look, man. It's like that old meme. We've got to do it for the money. It's about the money.
The physical gamer in me has to really groan about this because you can't update with the physical. You have to do it with the digital.
But I'm going to keep it real. These gamers, look, I know this is going to be hard for gamers to hear, but if you just played the version of the fucking game you had on the original console you bought it on, you wouldn't have to worry about this. Because the only upgrade you're getting, you're not getting new content for most of these upgrades. You're getting slightly better graphics. And I'm sorry, there is nothing being done on the PS5 or the Xbox Series X that couldn't have been done last gen. Hell, I'll even say put it on the Switch. There isn't a single game running on the Switch that probably couldn't have run on the Wii U.
Yeah, definitely.
So, if people I don't want to get fucked over, well then don't buy into it. Just be like, look, I'll wait until the shit goes on sale or the price drops, because inevitably the only company who never drops their prices unless a game sells abysmally is Nintendo.
Yeah.
But Sony and Microsoft, that shit will go on sale eventually, and then you'll buy it. That's it.
I was going to say, at least a month.
Mario 8's never going on sale.
No, I wouldn't say a month. I would say with Sony, you typically get about 4 months. 4 to 6 months.
I said if it's a real bad game, it'll go and sell under in a month.
Yeah, if it's physical media, like that PlayStation Classic, that they were like, oh, you can only get one and it's $130, and then like people they're selling them for like $20.
People thought Nintendo was so crazy with their prices with the micro consoles now. Sony said, hold my beer.
Well, it wasn't the price of the Nintendo micro consoles. It was that Nintendo's micro console was safe. Like the games they had in their lineup were relatively safe. Nothing really. Oh my god, I can't believe this is here. Except for maybe the prototype for the Star Fox 2 game, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I would say if I had my druthers and everything, I would have said it would have been cool if Nintendo would have doubled the amount of games on each of their mini consoles. Like I think on the NES Classic you had 50, or was it 30? Here, let me look it up. Because I don't have either of those, because I was like, wait a second, I already have all these games physically and or digitally or both. So why the fuck would I buy another version? NES Classic Edition, let's see, how many games did it have? It had It had 30. Okay, so it had 30 games. I think it would have been better if it had 60. You know?
was that that is not bad. It's just that I feel like it might be turning into one of those cheap garage sale consoles.
No. The only reason I'm saying that I think it would have been better to have uh if it had 60 is just because we know for a fact that there's 60 really good games on the NES, right? Like that would have been a very easy list to come up with. You know, the same thing with the SNES Classic. It had what, 20? Look it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 20. Yeah, it had 20. And I'm like, there's like way more than 20. I mean, you could do a 50 for the SNES all by itself.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, you could have had entire series. You could have had Final Fight 1, 2, and 3. You could have had Final Fantasy, the Final Fantasy 2 and 3. You could have had Secret of Mana, and as a first, Seiken Densetsu 3. Boom, right there, translated. Now, of course, you can open these and change out the Flash ROM on it and add your own games, which is a great way to add extra functionality to something that could have been better. But it was safe. It could have been better, but it got the job done. And then Sega came out with their shit, and it was like, wow, Sega's classic console was awesome. Had a lot of games, had the Japanese and the US versions. Some of the Japanese versions were different. The same thing with the Konami classic console. But then Sony's like, hey, aren't you guys nostalgic for the PlayStation, bruh? Hold my beer. Let me show you guys how it's done. And they proceeded to give us one of the sorriest, most embarrassing, half-assed, bullshit mini. They killed the mini console wave
On their own.
by themselves.
What was that mini console that had Bonk on it?
That was the TurboGrafx one from Konami.
Oh yeah, that one. I saw reviews for that. That one looked pretty cool because you're gonna have Japanese and English version. And,
and there were hidden games on it too.
Yeah,
there was like 3 or 4 hidden games on it. I mean, like everyone else brought their A game. I mean, okay, Nintendo brought their B game. Nintendo brought their B game, but Nintendo's B's is like an A any place else. Sega brought their A game. Konami, even though people like to talk shit about Konami, they brought their A game. And then Sony comes in there, hey guys, let me show you how it's done, and proceeds to step on a patch of dog shit and slip and fall on the shit multiple times. With their they single-handedly destroyed the mini console market with the PlayStation Classic, with PlayStation Mini.
Yeah, they popped the tire. They popped the tire in that wheel.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say you have to have a team of failures in order to do what Sony did with one.
Because after the Sony one came out, you did see a bit of momentum lost as it pertains to the
They ruined it. They ruined it.
And there's so many games that they could have gotten a license for.
No. That takes effort, Kenoshi.
Yeah.
that takes effort and people putting forth effort. And Sony's like, fuck it, we're just gonna throw some shit. They put Pacific region games that ran at 50 megahertz on a system that came for the version that came out in the US, which means those games were gonna run like shit on American TVs. Sony did that. That was Sony did that shit, okay? That just tells me they didn't give a fuck. There was no quality control. There was no oversight. It was like Sony saw other people doing mini consoles, and they were like, we can do it too, and we're just going to throw some shit together. And that's what the Sony PlayStation Classic was. Some shit that was thrown together, okay?
As much as we shit on Sony over here, the PlayStation had a library of a lot of good games, and they completely squandered it. It's baffling to me how that little micro console could have been easy money for them, but nope.
Well, let's keep it real. The weakness, the same thing that made the PlayStation such a great console, is the same thing that would have made a mini console, just one mini console, such a poor thing. Because the PlayStation had a huge fucking library. If Sony had been serious about doing mini consoles, what they should have done was smaller runs of multiple SKUs of mini consoles. Each one that had a library that was tailored towards people who were, more geared towards certain things, like the PlayStation Classic, the PlayStation Mini Blue. Maybe that's RPGs. PlayStation Mini Green, that would be like your Metal Gears, your Siphon Filters, stuff like that. The PlayStation Mini Red, that'd be like your racing games and kart racers and shit. Your PlayStation Mini Black, which would be like your classic Sony associated stuff like Spyro, Crash Bandicoot, shit like that. No, that takes effort. We can't do that. We're just going to grab some games that we can get an easy license to and not even get the right region. Yeah. And just throw some shit together and boom! put it on a gaming device. And a poorly emulated gaming device. They couldn't even get a good emulator for the PlayStation. And here's the fucked up thing. There's good emulators, they're good free open source emulators for the PlayStation. Sony couldn't even be bothered to get a good emulator off the internet for their own fucking thing.
They couldn't use PCSX or,
There's more than that. There's
the Beetle emulator.
There's multiple good emulators for the PlayStation. Sony couldn't even be bothered to get a good emulator for the shit. So
it's sad to say, but there's the only two companies as it pertains to the big three that care about their old games
Sega,
is Microsoft
Nintendo.
and Nintendo with an asterisk, but an asterisk next to
you. Oh, you mean console manufacturer? Yeah, I'm gonna say Microsoft and Nintendo because Nintendo cares about their old games when it's convenient for them. Microsoft cares about both of them. It's an asterisk because Microsoft only cares about old games when it's convenient and when they can garner goodwill from people. Nintendo cares about their old games when it's convenient.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, they did some when it was Mario, they pulled out all the stops. It was great. Link, they were like, you get this sloppy second bullshit right here. And Donkey Kong didn't get shit. I mean, he didn't get a fucking thing for his 40th. They were like, fuck you, monkey. I'm like, god damn. You do realize without Donkey Kong, y'all wouldn't exist as a video game company, right? Well, fuck them. Like, god damn. How y'all gonna do Donkey Kong like that? Cranky Kong. No wonder Cranky Kong wants to throw his shit at people because y'all treat them like that.
Yeah, it's
And I know people are gonna be like, "What do you mean? How are you gonna say that?" Come on, man. You know good and hell well that last year or the year before last, whatever they had the Mario one was great. The Mario anniversary, they were like, yeah, we're pulling out all the stops. I mean, it wasn't great because they gave us that kind of shoddy, okay emulated, no real updates to the gameplay. Like, it would have been cool if they had said, hey, you're getting Mario 64, but because we know that Mario 64 is kind of, it's getting up there, we're also including a optimized for the control stick for consoles version of Mario 64 DS as well.
Yeah, that
would have been cool. Nah, fuck that. Why not? That might actually be exciting. But it is what it is. But anyway, so enough about ragging about mini consoles that were poorly handled, and stuff like that. We're getting into these topics. The first one is, September is looking to shape up to be an awesome month for RPGs, considering that in the first few days of September, we got 3 or actually towards the end of August, beginning of September, we got 3 RPGs dropping on PC. and console for some of them. We've got Bravely Default 2, which was a Switch exclusive. Now it's also on PC. We've got King's Bounty 2. We've got Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, which, is a pretty deep computer RPG in the vein of a Baldur's Gate or a Temple of Elemental Evil, something like that. So what are your guys' thoughts on that? And plus, that's only what's come out this week. Next week, Tales of Arise is coming out.
Well, it's nice to see that people who've been wanting these hardcore RPGs for a while are finally getting them. I think with Divinity Original Sin, that kind of sparked some interest in that. Or maybe it goes back further. Maybe wasn't it Pillars of Eternity? Didn't that come out before?
I say between the two of them, Pillars of Eternity, Divinity 2, Original Sin. I mean, CRPGs have always been here, but they got bigger. You know what I mean?
Yeah, people got more interested.
And
they're more, they're more accessible. Like Divinity Original Sin 2, I think is a lot more accessible than the first one, without actually sacrificing on the difficulty. So yeah, it's good for people who enjoy that stuff.
I agree wholeheartedly. Your thoughts, Jewel?
With some of those, I still am enjoying them. Bravely Default 2, King's Bounty 2. I'm not sure of entirely, though the Pathfinder one, I consider it a mixed bag, but more in a good sense.
Well, the first Pathfinder was really dense and cakey, and there was like a lot of there was a lot of shit they should have added to the game that they didn't, because it was Owlcat Games' first computer game they made based on Pathfinder.
Yeah, and Pathfinder seems to get a little chunky with the mechanics. I'm gonna say that now.
Yeah, Pathfinder does tend to get into the weeds a bit. But I mean, this game's looking to be the Baldur's Gate to the first game's Baldur's Gate 1, and everyone knows that the first Baldur's Gate is okay, but the second one's much better. So hopefully this game is gonna scratch that itch for a lot of people.
How is the PC port of Bravely Default 2?
It's bare bones. It's a bare bones port.
Oh.
I mean, look, man. Look, Japanese developers by and large, not all of them, but most of them, their PC ports range from being fucking terrible to a little bit better than normal. What?
So it ranges from skeletons to skeletons wearing dresses.
I mean, I wouldn't go that far. I would say it ranges from absolutely fucking terrible, where the PC port is actively way worse than the console port.
WB games.
Like Ninja,
no, for Japanese developers.
Ninja Gaiden Collection.
For Japanese developers. I haven't played. I don't know how bad the.
I made the joke that WB PC games.
Yeah, but not every WB PC game is a terrible port. Like Mortal Kombat on PC is great.
I guess to put the Ninja Gaiden one into perspective, apparently you have to break into the INI files to change the resolution.
Yeah, yes, piss poor ports crazy. Like that. But isn't that Koei Tecmo owns Ninja Gaiden, or is that
I think it's Koei Tecmo.
I think it's Koei Tecmo. I want to say Bandai Namco or Namco Bandai, but here, let me look it up. I think Ninja Gaiden is owned by Koei Tecmo. Ninja Gaiden. Oh, yeah, it's Koei Tecmo. So I mean, you gotta expect they're not gonna be very, Koei Tecmo is not known for their PC ports, because if you play any of their the PC ports of their Dynasty Warrior games, those Musou games, they're terrible.
Yeah.
I have to say, really, they range. The PC ports of Japanese companies tend to range from like where they actively went out of their way to make sure the PC version would be way worse than the home console version. Where that's like Final Fantasy VII. The PC version of Final Fantasy VII is fucking terrible. I mean, it is.
Yeah.
It is like they went out of their way to make that game play like shit on PC.
Is it as
Even
bad
to
as
this
Watch
day.
Dogs?
Pardon me?
As bad as Watch Dogs?
No. Watch Dogs was Ubisoft trying to create console parity. So they basically downgraded the visuals so that it would be comparable to consoles. I mean, Final Fantasy VII on PC plays almost like the people who were porting that game over to PC architecture went out of their way to make it play, like to make cutscenes not run properly, to make audio codecs not go properly. So you get to the CGI cutscenes, which was a major selling point for Final Fantasy VII. It's not synced properly, so it runs poorly. Like only recently have you seen Final Fantasy VII PC being modding communities come out with patches and shit to make it run better on modern PCs. And this was Square Enix did this shit, or whoever they got paid to port that game over to PC. Almost like they were going out of their way to make it sell well on the PlayStation. Who knew? But anyway, but yeah, basically, Japanese PC ports of games go from either being fucking actively like they went out of their way to make them bad to being the tier above that is very bare bones, and then the tier above that is like they're okay, and then above that you'll get slightly better than average. The only Japanese video game company I've seen who really go out of their way to make the ports of their games on PC be fucking amazing is Sega with their Yakuza series on PC. They have gone out of their way to make those games just fucking great on PC. And I commend them for it. Because who the fuck wants to play a game, a console game on their PC and have the graphical options and settings to where you can tweak it to optimize so that it plays well and runs well on your PC, to have it playing poorly on your PC because it's trying to emulate playing it on console.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not just that. It's like on PC, like the re-release of Persona 4 Golden, right? On Switch and PC and stuff. Like it's based off the Vita version of Persona 4. Well, I don't like the Vita version of Persona 4. So but you can download a patch which basically restores the original version's voice acting and opening and stuff like that. So, that's something you can't do on console. You're stuck with whatever the fuck they give you, but on PC you have more options. So I was like, I'm going with that because, you're not going to fucking make me play this shitty version that you guys say. And they changed one of the voice actors for the characters, and the new voice actor sucks, but I can go and restore that. So I'm okay with that. Chie Satanaka.
Yeah, I hate when they do that with games. Or with anything, really, where they change voice actors.
Don't change the voice acting on me. I know how this person's supposed to sound because I played the original game. Damn it.
Or like in certain shows where they will change
the voice actor in animated shows.
Animated shows are just they'll change the character. Like there's a show, there was a show when I was a kid where they changed the main actress for the character, and it's just kind of like, well, if you're gonna do that, either
do an explanation.
Write the character out of the show, or write the character out of the show, or reboot the entire franchise. Like
Yeah, I mean, if you're a good enough writer, you can come. Doctor Who's been doing that for years. Doctor Who rejuvenates himself, and so he has a different face every time. So that's how they can switch actors. It's a pretty smart move, But I mean, not everyone writes back doors for them in film, in television and film that way. But anyway,
Yeah.
so September is looking like it's going to be a good time for RPG fans. I'm looking for the game I'm really looking forward to next week is Tales of Arise, because it's been a while since I played a Tales game, and this one looks like it actually has a budget behind it.
Yeah.
Something that we haven't seen in a Tales game in a while, because they were pinching that penny at Bandai Namco for their games. Uh, so, my first impressions of King's Bounty 2, the character models look like shit, but the atmosphere, like the world building they do, and the environmental, like how the environments looks great. Like you go into a medieval city, it feels like a medieval city. Like it's dirty, it's grungy, it looks lived in. It looks like a place you wouldn't want to live if you were poor. And even if you had money, it's like, yeah, it's kind of shitty.
Yeah. Yeah.
You still don't have a modern toilet. I'm still shitting in a hole. It's just I'm wealthy, so it's a nicer hole, but it's still a hole. I'm not cool with that. But yeah. So
God, that just reminded me of how bad it was back then.
yeah. Like I remember when I was in Boy Scouts, and they were like, "Yeah, we're going camping." I'm like, "Fuck this! No, no, no." I have never been to an outdoor campsite that had those outdoor toilets with the outdoor toilet didn't smell like shit. And I literally do mean shit. I would rather crap in a hole in the ground than go to an outdoor toilet. Here's your as an aside, here's your outdoor camping survivalist tip for the day. If you ever decide to go camping and you know you're not going to be near a water source where you're going to feel comfortable showering in the water source, get some biodegradable baby wipes and use that to bathe yourself. You will not smell. They can be.
And you'll feel a lot better from it.
You'll feel clean, and you won't have to. Because sometimes, I mean, I hate to break this to you, but sometimes you're near a water source where you don't feel comfortable bathing in the water source because the water is just not in a position, is not at a temperature where it's going to be capable, or there's going to be like insects and stuff. So you know, you just sometimes you gotta do the best you can. This only works when you're someplace where you know you're okay with the idea that your clothes are going to get a little funky, though, especially if you're wearing the same thing over and over again. This really is only if you have like 3 or 4 outfits to rotate out of, so that while you're wearing one, the other can air out and get, you know, not be funky. Because really, your clothes are going to get funky if you wear the same thing over and over and over again. And that's going to hold on to body odor and be just not very cool. There's your outdoor. Oh, and that whole rubbing 2 sticks together. You can start a fire that way, but it's a bitch. It's just carry flint and tinder and a fire starter kit when you go out camping. It's much easier.
Yeah, you're gonna thank yourself for getting us fire starting kit rather than trying to do 2 sticks.
Yeah, people do that shit all the time. They're like, yeah, man, I started a fire. I'm like, dude, just fucking
Just get a match or something.
just get a fire starter kit. Just make I mean, you get yourself some flint, some tinder, one of those knife fire starter kits where you've like it's all included. You can get a decent one for like 15-20 bucks, or you can go to a fish bait and tackle store, and they'll have it for like 5 or 10 bucks, and just get one. You don't have to worry about it. And waterproof matches or chimney matches, your best friend in starting fires, because then you can get the flame exactly where you want it in the core of your kindling pyre to get your fire started. Anyway, I don't know why that segued off into survivalist tips. So on to the next topic, which is my non-spoiler impressions of Shang-Chi or Shang-Chi.
And I'm letting you you take this one because if anything, I can already hear the trouble. What's going to start?
Okay, so I went to go see Shang-Chi yesterday. I saw it. My screener, I got to see it for free, so I didn't have to pay for it. But my screener was at like 3 o'clock. I actually liked the movie. I have to say that they handled Shang-Chi relatively well. The Shang-Chi in the MCU is very different from the Shang-Chi in the comics, but not so much that they're unrecognizable. The character's unrecognizable. Really, the first 2/3 of the movie are really good. The martial arts action in the film is really good. Um, the story is relatively well. Really, the film, the Marvel's version of the Mandarin is like Tony Leung is one of the most scary villains I have seen in Marvel since Killmonger and Black Panther. I would say that Tony Leung is even scarier than Killmonger as far as being a villain. Unfortunately, if you watch Black Panther, you can pretty much guess what happened to this version of the Mandarin, which kind of sucks, really, but it is what it is. So yeah, 2/3 of the film are good. The third act of the film, Act 3, when they have to do a lot of conflict resolution and tie up all loose ends, it kind of gets like, okay, I'm having a problem with this. But the reason I had a problem with Act 3 is because I am a comic book fan and I know these characters from the comics. And I realized that in order to make this story work, they had to nerf some of the characters in order to get them to work in the film. So that's my problem with Act 3 of the film. But overall, the film is pretty good. The music is good. I mean, overall, it's pretty good. Any questions?
This is probably something that we already answered, but then again, we answered it off air. You honestly would put it somewhere between Captain America and one of the Avenger movies.
Yes, the first Captain America movie. Not okay. Look, this film is not at the level of Winter Soldier or Civil War or like or even Black Panther, because those films are like exceptionally good. You know what I mean? Like Winter Soldier is exceptionally good. This movie, like in order for you to enjoy this movie, like if you're gonna get the most enjoyment out of Shang-Chi, you would have to be someone like me who really enjoyed watching those 1980s, 1970s Shaw Brothers films back in the day on TV, where they would basically have like these shitty special effects and light shows and people flying around using kung fu and shit. Like, I love shit like that. So, like, for me, Shang-Chi is basically a big budget version of this with much better special effects. So I enjoyed it. Even the third act, where it got to be a little bit too much for some people, I'm like, I'm loving this shit. I grew up watching this shit, and now it's gotten a bigger budget. I'm loving it. Now, if you did not grow up watching those types of films, you're not going to really like the third act. It's not terrible. You're just going to be like, okay, this was very grounded beforehand. Now you're going into like Mighty Morphin Power Ranger shit right here. And I don't like it. But since, like I said, I grew up watching that type of shit, I liked it. It's kind of like, how can I put this? It's kind of like the first time you saw the Avengers come together in the first movie. Right? And it's like, wow, they took the comics and they brought them on the silver screen. And even though it's not a one-to-one conversion, it's as close as we're going to get. You know what I'm saying? It's like that.
Yeah. The thing that's probably bugging me is remember how they advertised it as in you remember all these superheroes?
Mm.
Well, this is all those superheroes in one. which I have to wonder.
I haven't seen that
really?
advertisement. But anyway, Shang-Chi is pretty good. I'm trying not to go too in depth into because I don't want to spoil it. I will say to assuage people's fears, I know some people are thinking that Aquafina was going to be a terrible sidekick character. She's actually pretty awesome in the movie. She's actually a pretty awesome character, and she's not annoying. So there you go, folks. She is not annoying. I know in a lot of films,
Pico annoying, right?
in a lot of films, Aquafina is normally the annoying sidekick with her black scent. But in this movie, she doesn't use her black scent, and she's not annoying. She's actually the perfect audience avatar. She's perfect in this film. Boom. So there you go. So
wait until about next week, and we'll see how people are when you unleash the spoilers.
I mean, I've said this before. I'm not like all against like we can do spoilers next week, but I mean, really, I can't really spoil the film that much even when spoilers come out because a lot of it will have been um like if you know the Marvel movies, you know what you're getting into. But whatever.
I'm just saying that we'll see how things roll out.
But anyway,
anything else before we go into a topic that's close to me?
No. Anything else you guys want to say before we move on to the next topic?
No, I'm good.
All right. Okay.
And this is where Activision Blizzard tries to come in and make themselves known for trouble again. Thank you very much.
Okay then.
If anybody's wondering, it's because they introduced a new mode with some new features that's in my ballpark, kind of. If anybody's wondering, this is about Hearthstone and their new gameplay feature or game mode, which is which, if I got it right, is bounty hunters. At least if I got it right.
I mean, basically it's an expansion for Hearthstone, but the way they announced it was the most half-assed. Like, hey, expansion. Fuck
I
off.
was gonna say, this is as much effort as Blizzard put into. I mean, as Bethesda put into their games, or certain games, as far as I know.
I don't know. Bethesda puts a lot of effort in their games. It's just the problem is, it's always kind of like there's always like a but with Bethesda's games. It's like, well, we put a lot of effort in, but this game's missing core features because we just ran out of time and we had to get something out. But continue.
It looks of it. It seems like it's trying to advertise a certain the randomized arena where the cards are supposed to do certain things, and they spend action points to do certain things, and it's basically out of your hands unless you're doing tactic, unless you give them more to do certain things. Makes me wonder, what is the beeping point?
I get it.
But then again, I can say it's of course to try to lure in the people that are leaving Blizzard because of what they're doing, and try to bring them back not only into World of Warcraft. Oh boy, that's a sinking ship of its own. But try to tie them to play both that and Hearthstone. If you if you get if you get the 6 month package with World of Warcraft, you get some card packs for Hearthstone. And if you play Hearthstone, you get some features and goodies that can only be played in World of Warcraft. How fun. And I
So they're
see
trying
that,
to tie it all together, basically, is what you're saying.
yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're trying to tie in Diablo into this so they can make a triple play. Oh god, that's gonna be a mess.
I agree.
Yeah. But considering as I said how things are shaping up with Blizzard, they're trying to be sure that they could keep who they have on board, and trying to tie their card game into World of Warcraft is kind of a desperation pull at the moment.
It is. Do you see this working? Do you think that this is actually going to help save how World of Warcraft has been hemorrhaging players? I mean, it's been hemorrhaging players for years, but
Yeah, but at how hard they're hemorrhaging players now, and this is in Classic and in their modern game, I see this as this is trying to do repairs on the spot for a sinking ship.
yeah, I don't
You're
see it saving the day, dude.
you're 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 not gonna win you're not gonna win with just trying to patch up the ship. You're you gotta get the water out, or the ship's not gonna go right.
Yeah, you got to get the water out. Then you got to patch the hole. Then you gotta start moving to where you can get some place where you can get the ship in a dock or into a dry dock where you can see the hole and get it properly fixed. But that takes a lot of steps, and Activision Blizzard doesn't want to go through all those steps right now.
They want to still be in the water.
Yeah, they want to still be in the water.
And we all know what happens when temporary patches are in conditions that are still hazardous to them.
Sink. That's all you can really do.
Yep.
You have any thoughts on this, Kenoshi, before we move on to the next topic? You have anything you want to say about Activision Blizzard basically trying to stealth announce something in order to get the fire off their ass about what they've been doing?
No, not really. Um, people are just going to either ignore it and not care and still keep playing Blizzard games, or people are not going to play their games ever again. That's the way I see it.
I already left ship, they they already lost me, and I only had one game to worry about.
That's fair.
Right.
Personally, I mean, like, I don't really feel bad about it. I mean, I am at the point now where with Activision Blizzard that I just don't care about them anymore. Um, like, like the last Activision Blizzard game, like even now, like Diablo 2 Immortals coming out, and I'm like, yeah, like when it was first announced, I'm like, oh, they're finally remaking the original Diablo 2, and like a lot of people, that's like their favorite Diablo game. And now with this shit coming out from Activision Blizzard, I'm like, I don't give a fuck about Diablo Immortal. They can take that game and shove it up their ass as far as I'm concerned. Not to mention, like, there's so many other Diablo clones that exist now that do what Diablo did so much better than Diablo did now, that, I don't really need to play that game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know? But whatever. Uh so the fourth segment, Nintendo. There's a rumor that Nintendo is going to be adding, let me get this right because it's a rumor. Nintendo online rumor. Game Boy and Game Boy Color games. So
I consider that not a bad idea, not a bad thing. Though personally, I would say, is there any more?
yeah, I mean, to quote Richard Pryor, that's it. That's all you bringing is.
That's more of a an annoyance out of you than like that I got. It's like, is there any more?
I mean, the reason I'm saying that's it is because, okay, look, the Nintendo Switch's online library was supposed to take the place of Virtual Console. At this point, it's been what, 4 or 5 years since they launched their online, and their online is nowhere close to what they had on the Virtual Console in terms of the amount of games offered. On the Virtual Console, towards the end of the Virtual Console's life cycle, on the Wii and the Wii U and the 3DS, the 3DS was offering SNES games, uh, Game Boy games, Game Boy Color games, and had a large plethora of them, like the heavy hitters like Pokemon Gold, Pokemon Red and Blue, Pokemon Yellow, Pokemon Crystal, Pokemon Gold and Silver, like a lot of shit on there. And I'm not, and that's just, there's other shit too. All three of the handheld Legend of Zelda games, like Metroid 2, Samus Return, like a whole bunch of the heavy hitters. And that's just the handheld. Then you look at the home console. You had, not only did you have the NES portion of the Virtual Console, you had the SNES, you had the TurboGrafx 16, you had the Mega Drive, you had the Sega Genesis, you had the N64. Like, you had a plethora, like 5 generations of consoles on one, games from five consoles, 5 different consoles. That's a lot of games, and a decent amount of games on each one. To this, and I understand a lot of these companies realize we can make a lot of money by taking these games and selling them in mini console collections, and I'm okay with that. But I mean, just raise the prices on the Virtual Console. Don't get rid of it and give us this kind of lackluster replacement, which is what it feels like to me. So, I mean, yeah, Game Boy Color is nice, but I'm not like, I'm not. How should I put this? I am not a quiver with excitement over the Game Boy Color Virtual Console coming out. I'm not like, oh my god, this is the best shit ever. I'm like, it's okay. It's not terrible. It's okay.
In a sense, I consider this plain or vanilla, but then again, Red Fox would correct me in saying that vanilla has flavor to it, especially when mixed with other things.
Yeah, it's perfectly okay. It's fine. Like, when you're mentoring kids and you ask them how you doing, they say I'm fine. That's code for everything's just okay. It's not great, not terrible. It's okay. It could be better. It also could be worse. Where we had months of Nintendo not announcing anything. Like, it could be worse. It could be like when Nintendo announced those new games coming to the to the Switch, and it was it was like three bullshit ass games coming to the online. Like it was like I would rather y'all just not announce this shit if you're gonna add these games. y'all should have just said nothing and just released them and then been quiet about it. But anyway, you guys have any thoughts about that before we move on to the next topic?
Yeah, just release a real virtual console. That'd be kind of nice.
Yeah, I'd be cool with it. Personally, I would rather if they just said, "Look, we're bringing back the virtual console, and the games are just going to be more expensive because we have to pay more for licensing." I'd rather pay $10 per game or $15 per game than them not have it and have this kind of lackadaisical, lackluster online gaming experience. But that's just me. I know some people are going to get mad about that and be like, "How dare you, sir?" I take umbrage at that statement. The only thing I can say to the people who take umbrage at that statement is it's my opinion. And I'm biased because I like the virtual console from the last console, and this one's kind of lackluster to me. But I admit that I'm biased about it. So, the first step to becoming to realizing you have a problem is to recognize that you have a problem. And I admit that I'm biased about the old virtual console. I thought it was pretty cool. This one, underwhelmed. Actually, they don't call it a virtual console. What we got instead of a virtual console on this new system, I'm underwhelmed by. Oh shit! Gust brought over Soul Nomad and the World Eaters. It's a pretty good game.
Some of us are not that clued in, so you might want to help us a little.
Soul Nomad and the World Eaters was one of those Gust games. Not Gust, Nippon Ichi games that wasn't like Disgaea. And it was actually pretty good. I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. But that's my own personal opinion. The cool thing about Soul Nomad and the World Eaters was it was just a very different type of game. It had it was kind of like basically if you played the old it was kind of like a more pixelized version of Ogre Battle. You played this character who essentially drew this special sword that belonged to this evil dark god. So every time you use that sword's ultimate special ability, the chances of you awakening that evil dark god and destroying the world went up. So actually, you not using your special super ability to beat certain enemies gave you the better ending than if you did use your super ultra special ability. So there was a little bit of strategy to the game. But yeah, I mean, I had it on the PS2 and I liked it. I wish Nippon Ichi saw. I wish, like Koei Tecmo Koei, however way they want to say it. I wish they would port over more of their old PS2 era games to console. Because there's some good shit back then, like the Monokamiya series, which is basically like kind of like the precursor, to the Magic Girl Simulator Mana Atelier series. It's the precursor to that. I like shit like that. But they don't do that much these days, so, it is what it is. Anyway, I guess we can move on to the next topic. Unless you guys have anything else you want to add about the Nintendo Online.
Nothing else that I can think of. At least considering the crowd right now.
I'll say one thing. I think what would make everyone's day is if Nintendo added GameCube games to the online library. It would be damn near impossible to do that because the games added to the online library have to use a small storage footprint because it's basically their virtual online library is cloud based. So like the licensing, like there has to be a digital handshake every like 2 or 3 weeks online so that you can still play those games. So I don't know how they would get GameCube games because GameCube games are damn sight bigger than anything we've seen on Nintendo's Virtual Console before or their online library before. So I don't know if that could work, but I'd be down with it, like them adding GameCube games. But they probably won't do that. Our final segment is the WATA Heritage Auctions Retro Gaming Scandal. So basically, just a little bit of an overview of what's been going on. Essentially speaking,
if you're a collector, this is gonna bite you really hard because they're trying to sell games that are from the oldest of eras for 7 digits.
Oh, it gets worse than that. Basically, the guy who started WATA, who then sold WATA to a auction company. Basically, this guy got sanctioned and fined by the FCC in the 80s because he was part of the whole coin bubble that burst, okay? That destroyed the coin collecting market in the 80s. A market that still has not recovered since then. So basically, what's going on is that a group of people are buying up huge stocks of these old retro games and they're jacking up the prices and then selling them to people at these auctions. Now, here's the problem. Some of the people who are bidding on these items are also people who are part of the same outfit that's selling the games, which is shady as hell. I'm pretty sure that's illegal. This is either highly unethical or it's collusion, which is illegal in business. So, people are actually bringing this up. Now, the reason this is a big issue is because, like I said, this is jacking up the prices of games that shouldn't be that expensive. Like, I mean, you saw recently that a sealed Super Mario Brothers single black box Super Mario Brothers like sold for like I want to say 2 million. Don't quote me on that. Let me look it up. Sealed Super Mario Brothers auction price. Sorry, I lied. It wasn't 2 million. It was 1.56.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I remember hearing about that. It's like that's crazy. That game's not worth that much money.
Hell no, it's not worth that much. But if you have people buying up all the copies, if you have people buying up all the copies and buying up websites that have the population numbers of these games and shutting them down so people don't know how rare or not rare some of this shit is, and then selling them, colluding to pump up the market so that they can get a huge payout and then crash the market and jump off before it crashes, which is what they're doing. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, Super Mario, Super Mario 64 is not a difficult game to find. So, I don't. I guess it'd be hard to find a sealed, unopened copy of the game, but which would be worth some money. But
Yeah, but these people aren't collectors. These people are doing this so that they can say that this is how much this shit is worth. And so if you are in this industry and you want to basically, like, they're doing this for money. This is not collection. These people are not gamers. They're not like, I want to play on the original hardware, therefore I am buying this game. These people are speculators. They're buying shit so they can make money off of it.
yeah, yeah, that's absolutely crazy.
So
I think that a Nintendo 64 game is more expensive than a freaking for this the name escapes me. Those really fancy watches that can cost up to $100,000.
I know what you're talking about. Swiss
Rolexes.
Swiss watch.
Rolex.
Yeah, Rolexes,
Yeah.
the high end Rolexes. Yeah,
Yeah, that's kind of crazy to me.
but I mean, when you buy a Rolex, you're not buying it for a watch because Rolexes lose. They actually have a really bad refraction time, so they lose more time per day than like a similarly a Timex or something like that.
That's jewelry. Yeah, it's jewelry.
It's a status symbol.
It's jewelry. Yeah.
It's like, why the fuck do you need a 24 karat ring? Why?
Yeah.
Because it's a status thing. People don't need a 24 karat ring or 24 karat diamond.
Maybe money laundering. That's why some of these rich people, they're just filthy, stinking rich, will spend their money on ridiculous
personally,
things.
I do think a part of it is money laundering, but I also think a part of it is they're gaming the market so that they can get a big payout. And this isn't the first time these fuckers have done it.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna do it again. And they're doing it now.
So how much did Super Mario 64 jump in price on eBay?
I don't know how much it jumped on eBay. I do know that Mario 64 sold for 1.56, and Super Mario Brothers, the 1985 game, the one that everyone knows, that one sold for a little over 2 million.
I got a question. Are these sealed copies? Are these like?
Yeah, they're sealed and graded. I mean, why the fuck would you need a sealed and graded video game? Because video games exist to be played.
Yeah,
that's why they exist.
That's the thing about the whole retro gaming thing that I don't get. You just buy a sealed and graded game for the, just to look at it on your shelf.
Dude, but that's not what they're doing. This is.
I understand that's not what they're doing. I'm just talking about all the other people.
No, the only reason anyone would get people get comics graded because comics, there is a limited amount of a comic that was made, and a lot of comics were destroyed. So if you have a first edition Superman, that means something because that's a very rare comic. Or if you have a signed Mickey Mantle or Babe Ruth, that means something because there's value to it. Literally, the whole purpose of having a video game is to play it. And if you're not playing it, then it's just an object just sitting there. These people are doing this so that they can pump up the market and make money off of their collection when they inevitably sell. But they don't want to sell the entire collection. They want to pump up the value of certain games and then sell them. Like people buying up 5, 10, 15 copies of a game. Then they go to WATA, get it graded, which is owned by the company that's also gonna auction it off. I mean, it's scummy as hell. It's scummy and shady, and frankly speaking, I'm kind of disgusted by it.
Yeah, Yeah, it's gonna tank. Yeah, I mean, I've already been hearing rumblings of the fact that the retro market is kind of out of control, or was getting out of control even before this. But it's gonna make things even worse now.
Yeah, if you're one of
It's
those
gonna make a
people,
better. It's gonna make a better argument for emulation. That's for sure.
well, that and regulation. Um, but I've already said this before. Like, because the thing is, people who really want to play the game are people like the companies who like Nintendo made all the money they're ever going to make off the Super Mario Brothers 85. That they made their money off that game years ago. So they have no incentive to step in and curb the market. Um, Although Nintendo could blow it up by re-releasing cartridges of that game that run on the NES and saying, yeah, it's like $15. They could blow up that fucking they could blow up that fucking uh right there. But they're not going to do that cuz they have no incentive to. Really, I mean, at this point, just what we're looking at is a lot of shady shit. We're looking at a bubble being formed so that people can do a big payout, and when it crashes, you're going to see the prices fall hard, and that might be good because I mean, a lot of these retro games are overpriced anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, these games are pretty crazy.
And I'm a physical collector, and I see these prices are. I mean, I'm not a collector. I have a lot of physical media. I'm not one of those people. I have to complete my collection. I have to find these last 5 games in order to complete the set. I'm not one of those people. So, anyway, that's my opinion. So, with that being said, I guess we have one
Probably,
free topic. Oh, no, go ahead.
so these prices aren't too crazy. I'm looking at it, but these aren't sealed. These aren't like sealed copies or anything.
No,
They're
they aren't
just,
sealed
yeah,
graded.
yeah.
Plus, you get a
So,
lot of repros and people doing shady shit like that.
I'm not completely. I mean, I guess if you want to resell it for a higher amount, I'm not. I know people find reproductions offensive, but I mean, if it works, if they're able to flash the ROM correctly onto the board, then
It's for
then you're
for
still able to play it.
for people with repros. It's not that. It's not the repro itself. It's that for most repros, they have to destroy existing stock in order to make a repro, which means you're lowering the amount of games out there for people to play.
I thought they just I just thought they just moved the ROM from one cart to another
Yeah, but you're
cart or
still
got it off the board.
but you're still destroying a board. You're still destroying
Yeah.
existing stock in order to get that new thing. Plus, a lot of the a lot of the reproduction carts that you see, what they're doing is they're not telling people that it's a repro,
Yeah, that's really bad too.
and they're
If you're not
jacking up the
telling people.
prices. They're like, "Yeah, this is Earthbound." It's like,
Yeah.
that's not Earthbound. That's a repro because the label is fucked up. And I have an Earthbound, and I know what an Earthbound's supposed to look like. Or this is a
Yeah.
repro of Chrono Trigger. That's not Chrono Trigger. That's a repro. Also, they jack up the price of the repro because obviously, if you can make more of something, the overall price should not exceed the original.
Well, I don't remember where I heard this, but there was I guess there was a company or is a company that does professional reproduction stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there are.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, okay, if there's a repro of the S and if you repro Chrono Trigger, you can't charge someone $80 for a repro of Chrono Trigger.
Yeah.
If the original is $80. And that's what
Yeah.
a lot of repros are doing. They won't tell you that it's a repro, and then they'll charge you, or they'll charge like 75. I'm like, no, fuck you, no. So you can tell, like, it's just slightly unethical. I'm not saying that every repro is some bullshit or someone's doing some shady shit. I'm just saying there seems to be sometimes you see a lot of shady shit going down.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't know how we got on the repros. Anything you want to add, Joel, before we move on to the next topic, the free topic?
I'm having a headache already, and I was thinking about muting myself, but oh, flip it. You pricks that are trying to sell and scam people out of their money like this. This is the reason why we can't have nice things. You scalping mother flippers.
Yeah, this is why we can't have nice. I mean, like, here's the thing. Uh, you know, video gaming is an expensive hobby. Retro video gaming even more so because you're dealing with something that has a limited, um, there's a limited amount of whatever is there. This could be, this could be easily solved if video game companies would re-release their games, and it doesn't have to be physically. It could be digitally or in a new medium format. Hey, you can play the original in this new format, but they don't want to do that because that takes effort and time, and they ain't doing that shit. So, like a lot of people could change this shit up. Like I said, like, but they don't want to do that shit. So, I guess we'll wait and hope that things get better. It doesn't help that these people are doing all this shady shit that just makes shit worse for everyone else.
Yeah.
The only people who win when scalpers. I mean, because we're seeing this now in the PC market where you can't even get the parts to build a PC because these fucking blockchain people and Bitcoin miners keep on fucking buying graphics cards and shit. So, you know. And here's the thing, even if I wanted to, like me personally, even if I wanted to upgrade my graphics card, I have a 5700 XT. So really, like the little bit of graphical, performance that I would get in upgrading to the next gen graphics card, like basically the only thing I would get is I would have access to two graphical fidelity options that would be slightly better than what I have now. It's not worth the amount of money. Like me paying $1,000 over $1,000 for the graphical upgrade does nothing for me. And that's gaming, folks. That's these scalpers. They're ruining it for everybody. They're taking a good thing and fucking it up for everybody. It's like when someone, it's like when they're, it's like you might have a coffee shop where you used to hang out and do your homework, write papers, write up your resumes, stuff like that, right? And then one day someone went in there and fucked it up for everybody, and now no one can do it anymore. Well, that's basically what we're dealing with now. People ruining it for everybody else because they got greedy.
Oh, breaking news! Breaking news! Apparently, the Sonic Colors
It's a terrible port. Yeah.
It's a steaming pile of shit. So
Question.
That, people.
I have one question. Was it put out by Sega?
Yeah.
Enough said.
I think so. Yeah.
I mean,
it's
Sega.
Just disappointing because that's a relatively decent game, but whatever.
Yeah, but Sega found a way to fuck it up, didn't they? Sega can find a way to fuck up the simplest shit.
To say, Sonic has been their beep for so long. It's kind of a meme at this point. And Red, I think you know what I mean when I censored myself.
No, they've been fucking it for a while. So basically on the Switch, and I only hear about this being on the Switch. So apparently, once again, Nintendo's getting shafted.
Again, how fun.
Yeah, so basically, here's what Nintendo fans are saying the issues are. These mainly appear to be affecting the Nintendo Switch version of the remaster, including severely glitched visuals, players falling through scenery, soft locks, crashes, and more. Don't tell me people are actually buying the Switch for this when it can run literally any other Wii remaster or port with absolutely no issue, wrote one Twitter user. This is entirely on Sega as usual when it comes to Sonic. So, so basically, if you want to play the ultimate version of Sonic Colors Ultimate, bust out that Wii.
Yep.
So once again, folks, I repeat what I said earlier. There ain't shit running on the Switch that couldn't be run on last gen hardware. Okay. In some cases, apparently better now. I don't know what's so hard about getting shit to run on the Switch that they're like, oh, it's, because like I said, Sonic Colors was on the Wii, and you could play it on the Wii U.
That had far less resources to work with than the Switch does.
Oh, wow. And guess what? It only runs at 30 frames per second on the Switch.
That makes no sense, but okay.
Damn. And Sega recently delayed Sonic Colors physical release date in Europe. They said, well, we're seeing unforeseen logistical. They knew this shit wasn't running properly, and they threw it on Nintendo consoles because they know Nintendo fans will take any old shit. Because Nintendo fans have been trained. Well, all I got is a Switch, so I got to take it. Let me bend over and pull the pants down. Go ahead.
Really?
That's how companies treat Nintendo fans. And that's how some Nintendo fans act. They're like, well, all I got is a Switch, and it's coming to the Switch, so I'll play this piss poor port of this game because it's on the Switch.
I'm a Nintendo only fan mostly, and I'll say I don't pull my pants down like that. Yeah.
I said some. Did I say all? Did you hear me say all Switch fans do that?
I was gonna say, I thought you said most, but
I didn't say most either. I said some. I said some Nintendo fans bend over and accept anything because it's on the Switch, regardless of quality. Okay,
I was being sure about that because if anything, I already know that's gonna be a fire starter.
There are a huge amount of Switch fans that bought Skyrim on the Switch because it was on the Switch, even though that is literally one of the worst. Not only did they port over Skyrim to the Switch, they ported over the original version of that game with no bug fixes. And here's the thing, because the Switch doesn't support mods, you can't even download mods to fix how fucked up that version is. But that's the version that they put on the system, and Nintendo fans bought the shit.
So apparently the port was handled by a company. I guess it wasn't built by Sega in house. It was thrown to another company to do it.
So they probably went cheap.
Yeah, they went cheap. This is the same people who did WWE 2K18 for the Switch, which that game was just trash all around, wasn't it? That was the game that was so broken.
No, that was had to cancel. That was 2K19.
Okay.
2K19 was the one that was so broken.
Oh, I remember seeing glitches for that game. That game was so busted. Busted.
So there you go,
yeah,
folks. So they learned nothing, and they just went cheap. They just went really fucking cheap. Because Sega does that. Sega loves being cheap. Okay? If there's one thing about Sega, they love being cheap. Okay? They love doing just enough. And apparently, they probably went with this. They probably went to a lot of studios, got pitches, and they went with the cheapest studio that gave them a pitch. And it was like, that's too cheap. Like sometimes, if you go with the cheapest, you get what you pay for. And if you're going that cheap, you're gonna get something cheap.
Example, dice. Or
Anything.
I was trying to I was trying to use something for a gaming example. Thank you, Red.
I mean, look, I'll give you a business example. Like when I first opened my business, I called myself going cheap. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna use I'm gonna use the second cheapest insurance for my fire and hazard insurance for my business. Something popped off, and because I went second cheap, I had to fight those people to get them to cover the incident at one of my locations because I went with second cheapest. Sometimes going with the cheapest will fuck you in business. Sometimes you gotta pay to get shit done right the first time. Okay?
I was gonna say, please tell me that you at least got something out of all that.
Well, I told you I had to fight to get it. I eventually got it, but it was like, it wasn't.
It was it was paper thin rather than thick as a pizza slice.
No, I had to fight to get the coverage because basically we had a fire in the kitchen and I had insurance for that, but I went with the second cheapest because at the time my business I was first getting started and it was not.
It was not. It was a starting business, and you had to work. And you had to work with what you had at the moment, right?
I wasn't rolling the money, but I had the money to get better insurance, but I was being cheap. Basically, I paid the price for that.
I was thinking that you went with the second cheapest, so you could say that you're trying to build up yourself to get better stuff.
No, I went second cheapest, and it basically it like I had to fight tooth and nail to get them to cover it. And once that did, I got rid of their asses because like I can't. Like, because if some shit jumps off, you get insurance so that if some shit jumps off, you're covered. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
once my time was up, I was like, you know what, I'm done with these people because I can't,
yeah,
some shit jump off and someone's gonna fight you. But just like in video games, if you like anything else, if you are paying for someone to remodel a part of your house, and you go with you look at how much it's going to cost from a range of different contractors,
and
and
you
you
go
go
El
with the
Cheapo.
cheapest or the second cheapest, don't be surprised that your shit is going to be half-assed. Don't act surprised. And Sega's like, yeah, well, look, I'm like, man, I'm not surprised that this is, that. And once again, Nintendo fans are the ones getting shafted.
Yeah, it's been this way since the N64. I don't see it changing all that much anytime soon.
No. I mean, most of the time we get half-assed ports on Nintendo consoles.
That's why you get Nintendo consoles for Nintendo games. And then
you
another console for everything else.
Yeah, you get a Nintendo console for first-party and second-party exclusives, third-party exclusives. That's why you get a Nintendo console. As far as like multiplats, unless the multiplat on a Nintendo console is so outstandingly done, like Ghostbusters on the Wii. Ghostbusters, the video game on the Wii, is actually pretty good, even though it has more cartoony visuals. It's still a pretty good game. But by and large, multiplats on a Nintendo console, unless that multiplat is outstanding, like head and shoulders above everything else,
It's usually shafted.
you're gonna get shafted. Yeah. So don't even but there's exceptions to that rule. Like Gauntlet Legends on the N64 5th gen is much better than every other port of that game on a home console. Yeah. So there are exceptions to that rule, but you kind of, as a Nintendo gamer, you have to be very savvy and not just take any shit they throw on your console, especially if it's a multiplayer. You gotta be like, hey, I gotta go see this game in action. I gotta go read some reviews. I'm not just gonna get the game, get the shit. So yeah, people need to understand that shit, and I wish people would fucking get it and stop trying to, ignore it. But that's my own personal opinion. Anything else you guys want to add before we move on to the end
Last
of the?
topic.
Well, I thought we were going to get to the last up. We only have 5 minutes left in the cast, so I guess we'll just do a-hole of the week and wrap things up. I guess
Alright.
we'll save bad games with good ideas for Wednesday.
Yeah.
All right, so who are we nominating for a-hole of the week?
This is a tough choice between our continuous champion, Activision Blizzard, and the people who are trying to do those sales.
I think I'm going to go with WATA. I think, that's going to, people are already mad enough about what scalpers are doing right now as it pertains to technology, as it pertains to the PC market. And now they're trying to do it to the retro game market. It's just, there's no way in hell that Mario 64 could ever be worth $1.6 million.
Yeah, that should never be worth that much. Like, it's if you
Mario ended up at 7 digits, that's a little ridiculous.
maybe 10,000, maybe 15, but millions, I'm like, fuck you. No. This is clearly they're pumping up the market so they can get a payday.
Yeah, that is absolutely insane. So, yeah, that's my pick.
All right.
I said I'm between WATA and Activision Blizzard. So, Red, can you help us out here?
I'm gonna go with both. I'm gonna give it a bifurcated asshole of the week.
So it's short by a surprising vote of 3-2. WATA kicked Activision in the rear end.
No, they both get asshole of the week.
Actually, here's the thing. You
So it's a bit of a
miscounted.
tie.
No, I said I'm splitting it, and I'm gonna give it to both.
That means WATA still wins.
No. Okay.
Yes, it does, because here's the thing. I said I'm between Activision Blizzard and WATA.
So that's one
You
half
said
and one half.
Activision
He said he's
instead of
going with
WATA.
WATA, and I'm saying I'm giving it to both. So, in this case, I'm the tiebreaker, and I'm saying that I'm saying that both of them are equally bad. Okay, I'm saying and I said I'm giving them a fractured butthole because much like real life, if you strain yourself too much, you can fracture your butthole. So therefore, I'm giving both of them asshole of the week. It's a fractured butthole. They both are, because Activision Blizzard is terrible because they literally their practices were fucking they were fucking over women of color, women, other people, a hostile work environment, taking advantage of people, and Bobby Kotick gave himself a $885 million bonus for doing this shit. And I guess all those people on the board gave themselves fucking bonuses too. WATA is bad. But
that's
no
the
one's
thing. You splitting your vote in half, me splitting the vote in half, and he put a full vote.
Yeah, I'm still giving it.
That WATA still wins.
Yeah, but I'm still saying that both of them get asshole of the week because both of them are equally shitty. And it's like, I can't say WATA's worse because no one's forcing people to play only physical media. No one's forcing anyone. Well, I only play. No, you don't have literally. There's tons of ways to play Chrono Trigger. You don't need a physical cartridge to play that game. There's tons of ways to play Super Mario Brothers. You don't need a physical cartridge to play that game. No one's forcing you to only buy retro shit. Only the most hoity-toity of collectors or people who are trying to blow up the market give a fuck about physical media these days.
That's the thing. I already get that. I was just saying between the three of us that means WATA wins by default.
But I'm giving it to. But I'm saying that both of them are equally bad. So I'm saying both of them are asshole of the week. Yeah. Both Activision Blizzard and WATA are getting asshole of the week because both of them are equally bad. because what WATA's doing is going to basically tank an entire market, which I mean, like, is both it's a bad thing right now, but if the bubble bursts and the prices crash, which means people are going to find their collections aren't worth shit, which is also good because it means the prices are going to drop for a lot of these games. However, in the case of Activision Blizzard, like, they're fucking with people. They're continuously fucking with people. They're underpaying people. They're taking advantage of their employees. And then they're trying to cover up all this fucked up shit. Hey, we got a Hearthstone spinoff coming off. That's like when you were a kid and you'd fuck up in class and your parents would come and get you, and then you'd bring up some side shit to draw attention off the fucked up shit you did. It's like, I'm gonna be like my parents were with me back then. Look, yeah, that's nice. Let's talk about the shit you did. Okay. We ain't taking attention off of that shit right there. Okay. So yeah. Hearthstone is nice. Diablo 2 Immortal is nice. The remake is nice, but let's talk about those people who got passed over for promotions and the Bill Cosby room, and people covering this shit up, and CEOs giving themselves $185 payoffs. $185 million payoffs, while simultaneously shuttering studios and firing people. But hey,
yeah,
it's all good.
Also, one more bit of news before we close. Apparently, Korea made it forced Apple to allow third-party vendors to receive money through payments, various different items within their apps.
Yeah, but
without going through their app store.
That's probably because Korea probably has more government controls over their business over there. They have more government intervention over business. They're like, if you want to do business in Korea, your ass has to do X, Y, and Z.
Apple and Google, so it's they're both not happy about it. So
they want to do business in Korea, in South Korea. That's got to pay. Look. The Korean government's like, look, you're gonna give our companies their cut of the money so that they can pay their fucking taxes, because they fucking headquartered here. They owe us money. Shit. Yeah. So we can pay for these roads and all these amenities and shit. It's only here in America that we have these massive companies that make billions of dollars in profits, and we're like, no, you don't need to pay your fair share. We'll put it on poor and middle class people.
Yeah, we'll fund endless wars. So money that could have gone to infrastructure and other stuff goes to endless wars.
We got to put $2 trillion in Afghanistan because fuck our roads, fuck our roads and infrastructure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, that's enough of that. Let's bounce. Anything you guys want to pimp out before we wrap things up?
I'm all right now.
All right, Kanoshi?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, I have a couple things to pimp out. I will finally be getting up the re-review of Fallout New Vegas this upcoming next week, Friday. So that'll be the 10th. So look forward to that. I also have my Shang-Chi review with spoilers that came out yesterday, or was it today? I can't remember. But basically, it was my Shang-Chi review. So there you go. It's with spoilers. The spoilers in the last 5 minutes of the review. So if you don't want to watch it, just watch the first parts, and then the last 5 minutes you can leave. But I thought it was pretty good. I needed to review something. I had a free screening, so I was like, fuck it, I'll watch it. So with that being said, that's the end of this video. Rate, comment, share, subscribe. the podcast. Remember, you can reach us, email, Twitter, all that stuff is in the description, so you can look it up if you want to reach us. So that's the end of this podcast. Rate, comment, share, subscribe, and